Good morning. Happy Thursday, everyone. Hopefully, everybody's doing good. Welcome, Adrian.
Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. It's been an amazing Thursday so far. How about yours?
It's been great. We're going to be talking about morning routines, so I'm curious, did you do yours today?
Guilty, no.
Well, part of what we're going to be talking about how even a morning routine done imperfectly is still better than zero morning routine, right?
That is true. I've done mine sometimes 20% and I feel accomplishment. And sometimes I've done 100% and I'm like, oh my God, that feels so good. So yes, you get some sense of accomplishment either way.
For sure.
So how about yours? How's your routine, morning routine this morning?
This morning, it was pretty decent, but last week, and we'll get into this a little bit more, is like last week I was fatigued, so I was doing 50% maybe. But I still tried to be graceful about it with myself and just say, like, this was better than nothing. Maybe you didn't do your push-ups today, but you did go for a walk or you did do yoga. So that helped a lot actually too, to make this just a day that we didn't skip, but we didn't necessarily do it fully, is still a day that keeps the X's going, as they say, with habit tracking.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things that I've noticed since we started the morning routine and the accountability is that I'm more up for going and at least doing my best to do part of it. And if I cannot finish it, like for example, today that I was not able to get any of my morning routine done, I know that I'm gonna do my best to do it later on. It should have been done in the morning, but I'm gonna allocate some time to get it done a little bit later, or at least as much as I can accomplish today.
I think that's the important part, is having the intention to fit it in at some point, and that could be, even for me, it tends to be if the strength training isn't done earlier or exercise isn't done earlier in the day, I usually look at my schedule and say, well, I'm taking a walk or I am doing yoga at 5:30 tonight, so I will still get something in. And that does help because we have the intention there, and that usually leads to action at some point during the day, even if it's not right at the top of the morning, as we like to say.
Yes. And the one thing that I really, really, really enjoy, because here's the thing, I don't know if you guys know, but Adrian is my accountability partner. She's the one who keeps me on my toes. So with that said, one thing that I love about her is that she understands, that not every single time is gonna be perfect. Because I remember certain times that I'm like, Adrian, I did the whole thing, but it takes me 3 hours.
Yeah. Or you're up till like 3 o'clock in the morning and it's like, I had to sleep in a little bit, and that's okay, right?
Yes, because that is the part of accountability. Not only being the one that tells you, okay, these are the rules, and this is what you yourself agreed to do. Not only that part of reminding you, but also the part where you're the support, where you're like, okay, John, although there was a reason, give it a try tomorrow again. Yeah. Because that is all we want sometimes for accountability, and you're great at it.
Well, thank you. I think you are great at it too, and you're very understanding, and I also appreciate how you make me laugh even on the days where I don't. So, I mean, part of this, and when we get into the accountability part, like finding that partner who's going to support you, keep encouraging you, send you funny memes, all of that is going to be important to just kind of keep you on track, but also make it a fun process rather than a did you do this or not kind of thing.
Yes, because at the end of the day, life is about relationships, business is about relationships, and I don't know any relationship that would last unless you're in the army. And even the people in the army, the second that they fall out of ranks, they go and have fun. So right. You need to have that fun element into it. Mm-hmm. One thing that I'm doing in my routine, because part of my routine is to do cardio. Some of you know that I own a dance studio, so you may say, well, you do cardio there. No, not really, because most of the time I'm standing up teaching, so I'm not moving. And when I'm moving, it's for such a short period of time. So what I do to make me want to do my morning routine is that I add a little bit of footwork and shines, and then I jump on the treadmill.
Yes. And usually I mean, should we talk about our morning routines first, or maybe what life was like before morning routines? Because that's also kind of fun to
Let's start
compare.
what life was before.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Ladies first.
Okay. Thanks. Well, I wrote a blog about this probably in 2015, 16 about how I tried to make myself do what all these CEOs like Richard Branson of Virgin and Tony Robbins. It's like a 3-hour long thing. But most of what they said was get started with exercise early. And I had heard this maxim also from a hot yoga teacher who said at 6:30 in the morning, there's only one thing standing between me and my workout. It's me. At 6 p.m., all sorts of things come into our way. So I was like, okay, that's pretty smart. So I signed myself up, and luckily some of my associates joined me for a 6 a.m. HIIT yoga class. Not HIIT yoga, sorry. It was the boxing class. And I was like, let's just give this a try. So we would all go there. And it was during the middle of winter, but we used willpower, basically. There were some benefits. I mean, I could see like how much could get done by noon, and that was neat. But I will tell you that it did not work long term because it was cold outside. I did not like having to get in the car, scrape it off, go to the gym, freeze. The other part is I like food. I mean, I'm a dietitian for a reason. I love food. So it was really hard for me to time meals. Either I would skip breakfast and just go there and do this really hard workout, and I would feel nauseous and just completely depleted. Or I would try to eat food like 30 minutes beforehand, and again, I'd feel nauseous. So it did not work for me. But I used willpower for like a good week, and I made myself do it. It just wasn't very sustainable. But another aspect of this was my inconsistent wake and sleep times. Like before a morning routine, I would just be like, all right, I'm tired. I'm going to bed at 11:30. I'm going to bed at 9:30. I'm staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning. So I would wake up at all these various times too. Sometimes it was 6 a.m. Sometimes it was 8:30, and other times it was 11. And then by that point, especially with 11 a.m., you're trying to fit all the things you said you were going to do for the day in, which usually also contributed to staying up late. And this whole cycle would start all over again. Another thing is that I would have adrenaline rushes. You wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. And you're running around grabbing your work materials. You're trying to find the outfit that you said you're going to wear, but then you find it's in the laundry. There's like looking for keys, feeding the dog, all sorts of things that we all get involved with our adrenaline rush mornings. And then a lot of times I found that I was forgetting to bring water. I was forgetting to bring lunch. And then I would spend $13 to $20 on water and lunch during the day. So that also contributed to me spending money where I didn't really necessarily want or need to, and food waste, because I had all these perfectly good groceries that I could have made lunches with that I didn't. So I think that those were the key parts. That way of living before my morning routines cost me time, it cost me peace, and it cost me in terms of money that I didn't want to spend in one area. So that's one thing that really encouraged me to start with my morning routines. What about for you?
For me is the thing that my morning routine is something that I decided that I wanted to do, because before of it, I will not allocate a lot of time or enough time for me to read. And one thing that I have found after I left high school is that I enjoy reading. For some reason, Macbeth was never my thing.
Was it the book reports? Because that kind of kills it for everybody, I think.
For me, it was English literature that killed me.
Oh, yeah. When they're like, what was the significance of the red letter? And you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to read the story.
or like I said, Macbeth and all the books. And I'm like, please, we don't speak Old English anymore. Why do I have to learn that? And on top of that, it was when I got here to the US, as you can hear from my accent, I speak Spanish. So I had to learn English as my second language. And it was like, oh my God, I have a dictionary for English and a dictionary for Old English. And I have my book and it was like, come on, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yes, I had to do that with German. So I very much relate. It was not easy, for sure.
Oh, you speak German. I didn't know that. I'm learning something new about you.
I mean, like barely these days, but I mean, when I was doing my major, I had to learn not just the German language, but also we were reading like Gota's stuff, and I was like, okay, I have to like learn what these new letters are because it was a different kind of a stylization.
Is the
And so
Cyrillic
it was
alphabet on
kind
German?
of
No,
hard.
I don't think it's the Cyrillic alphabet on German.
No, well, yeah, you know the Cyrillic alphabet. I do not.
Yes, because I have a passion for Russian. I'm still learning it. I'm getting better at it, but I'm still on the learning curve.
And my Spanish isn't that great, but I can speak a
¿Por
little bit. Anyway,
qué?
I should probably add Duolingo to my morning routines now that we're talking about this.
Yes. So I was not allocating the time for reading. Definitely, I know that because of my workload, I should be doing some exercise to relax my body. I was not doing it. So what I'm doing now is I added that in the morning. I added the reading. And one thing that is like, I don't know if you ever read that book that talks about, if you make your bed first thing in the morning is like the best thing you can do because it gives you the sense of accomplishment and whatnot.
Yeah.
I
It's similar
truly
to another one. Sorry.
No,
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I've been reading about habits again, so it's kind of along the same lines, but there was a specific reference to, I think it was a general who gave a whole talk and then wrote a book about it, right? Like making your bed the first thing in the morning. Yeah, okay, I remember that.
And I've been doing that in my morning routine, and it doesn't give me the sense of accomplishment. So what I figured is what gives me the sense of accomplishment of not making my bed or making it is the feeling that I get when I get back into the room. Because when I do it, I'm like, yeah, it looks pretty, whatever. But when I get back into the room, it looks nice. I'm like, oh, now I remember why I did it. It looks nice. So I get my reward later.
But the result's nice, and that's what helps us do it. Okay, what other elements do you have? And I know that you do the treadmill. And
Yes.
okay, how's that going?
The other one is the meditation that I'm trying to get back to. I'm gonna avoid the word trying.
Yes.
That I'm going back to slowly but surely, because the meditation part, it's been one thing that at one point I was able to focus for a few minutes and hold my focus, and now it's like squirrel.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that again.
And anybody who's listening, I mean, we're sharing, and I will share a little bit more too, but like this is totally imperfect. There are some days where we nail it, and other days where like totally didn't meditate today, and that can be okay. Or we can figure out like, okay, what didn't work about our meditation? What would make it probably more doable? And then we kind of like problem solve even for ourselves and each other, right?
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that I always say, for example, the days that I cannot do the treadmill because I don't feel like doing the treadmill, what I do is I take my headphones and I go for a walk. It's not the same thing. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing, because for dancing you should have a very, very good cardio and have very good stamina, and walking does not give you that. But there's days that I don't feel like doing it. So what I always say, if plan A does not work, there's a bunch of other letters in the alphabet, and then once you finish the letters, there's a bunch of numbers, and the numbers are infinite. So do not give up. So
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go with plan Z, and that's okay.
Yes, and that is always okay. Like, for example, in my life here in the US, there has been many things that have happened to me that a lot of people do not go through it, because, for example, in your case, you had the blessing to be born here in this country. When I left high school, I was awarded with a full scholarship for West Point.
Wow.
But because I was not a US citizen, I was not able to use it. So that really frustrated me, because my only dream in my life at that point, that's when I learned what I'm saying right now. If A doesn't work, go to B. If B doesn't work, go to C. If C doesn't work, go to D. If D doesn't work, keep going. Is because I got so frustrated that for 6 months I was like, that's all I wanted to do. I was this dying diva, like, I cannot be a military guy. That's it. My life is over. So later
Full
when I
on drama. I love
oh
it.
yeah, when I caught on to it, I'm like, dude, your nails don't look so good. Never mind. But when I caught on, and I'm like, okay, if I cannot be in the military, what can I do that makes me happy? And that's when I fall back onto music. And that's how I started working with different groups and working within some of the South Latin American art. And that's how I get to meet a lot of fantastic people in my life. Then that chapter of my life was finished, and then I'm like, okay, what is the next thing that makes me happy because I couldn't keep going. At that time I already had a family. So back to what I said, if plan A does not work, go to plan B. And I think that that's one of the key things that make me feel accomplished and with purpose every single day, because I know that if something one door closes, the next one is going to open, and then if that one doesn't open, there's always that window up there.
Yes, exactly. I agree. And I know we're talking more about morning routines, but I would also say it was very similar for me. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, which, looking back now, like I can't even get my blood drawn without like fainting. So I'm not even sure what I was thinking, but I got into college, and because I had taken an honors chemistry class, and chemistry is my kryptonite. I don't even know what I was thinking there either. I got like probably a D minus or something, which was like the first time anything grade wise that bad had happened. I got kicked out of the honors program, and then I thought to myself, well, I can't be a doctor because like obviously you have to be perfect. So then I got my German degree because I was like, well, what do I love? I love German. And then I was like, okay, well, what can I do with German? Probably not a whole lot. Let me get my political science degree. Maybe I'll be a lawyer. Did not really want to be a lawyer. And then I found dietetics, which is something like nutrition I had always loved since I was 15. But like the thought of ever becoming a dietitian had never really crossed my mind, because I thought that they did like tray pass outs at the hospitals or something. But there's so much that I didn't even know was possible until I just stumbled in to my third degree. And it's just like, that's my plan, what, D right there, basically. But it worked out way better than probably even being a doctor would have been, actually.
Yes, because you never know which one is going to be the one that is going to make you the happiest. As I always say, up to a point, you should always try first before you say no, unless you know you're straight and you're not going that way.
Yeah.
So that's the only time when you say no.
Reference to our earlier conversation, yeah.
So it's always good to try new things. For example, dancing for me now, like that's another thing. Not long ago, like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I met with a friend of mine from high school. We know each other for around 22 years. And she knows me from the time that I couldn't move my left foot or my right foot, and I was completely uncoordinated, and I looked like a blender without the lid off. With the lid off. So she knew that I couldn't dance to save my life.
Oh, okay. Way back then.
Yes. And now when she sees me, it's like, oh my God, what a change. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, back then I was too worried of what will people think of me not being able to dance and trying it out there. I was like shy about it. I didn't want to see anybody see me mess up. But then as I grew up, I stopped caring about what people thought. And that allowed me to give it a try on the dancing. And now it's one of my biggest passions. And if I wouldn't have said, you know what, let me give it a second try, I would have never found out. So it's back to the morning routine. When I say a second try, is like if something did not work one day, but you know it's something that you really want to accomplish it, find a different angle and try again.
Yes. I like to think of our morning routines as kind of dance steps too. And sometimes, you're leading and you're just like, go, go, go. And other times you have to take a step back in order to go forward. And just improvising, I think, is another important thing. We didn't really talk about this before we got on this call, but I find that my morning routine has to change based on the season of life that I'm in, or even with the quarters of the year and what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm enrolled in classes and I'm like, okay, 10 o'clock every day, I'm going to the class. What do I need to do beforehand to get things done? But then I will move out of that and into something else, and my morning routine changes again. So then that if I were to stay so stringent to like, John, for the next year, I am doing these 5 things every day, I would fail constantly because I'm not adjusting to my life.
Yes, because there's only 2 constants in life: death and change. Everybody's gonna die.
Taxes, but yeah.
No, even taxes change. The law changes every so often.
77,000 pages of tax code, probably more than that now. Oh gosh, I agree with you.
Look, taxes and the weather in Florida are bad things. You never know what's gonna happen.
Same here in Ohio, for those of you listening in from here.
Yes. So I am so glad that we touched this subject today. Today we touched the subject a little bit, but not this Friday, meaning not tomorrow, but the following Friday, we're going to have a panel with more coaches. We have Irina, Kara, of course, Adrian, myself, and we're going to dig even deeper on the subject of morning routines, because today you're seeing a little example of what's Adrian and I. How do we work this morning routine? But now when we meet with them, you're going to have different perspectives, because for everybody's different, and there's no one thing that is like, okay, this is the perfect morning routine. Nobody has that. You have to find something that suits your needs, your wishes, your wants, your goals. So I want to give that for people that are interested in starting a morning routine, so you don't only hear us, but hear other people, and maybe get ideas. Grab onto ideas. If you have never done it, give it a try. Put a few ideas down. And one thing that I strongly recommend, find a buddy, somebody that can help you do your morning routine. And I'm saying help you do your morning routine because, look, every time that I don't hear from Adrian, I'm like, where is he? Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And I text her, and then we encourage each other to keep going. So please do that. So Adrian, where can people find you?
OneBiteWellness.com is where I am. I have a number of blogs about morning routines on the website, and you can even see how my routines have changed throughout the years. But I really want to encourage everybody to personalize your morning routine, realize it doesn't need to be perfect, and that you can have a lot more peace going throughout your day if you do have a morning routine. So those are the most important pieces to me.
Okay, fantastic. And for me, is understanding that not every single morning routine is gonna be perfect. Please don't be so harsh on yourself that if you didn't do 100% of it today, you're gonna be like feeling bad. No, just you did your best for that day. Doesn't mean that tomorrow you're not gonna be able to do 100%. So put that perspective. Okay, and for me, you can find me at soulentertainmentart.com, either for my dance studio or for my digital marketing agency, or highlightreviews.directory for the reputation management portion. So anything else you would like to add?
I just want to say thanks for being my accountability partner, because over the past month in particular, now that we've instituted these, I am doing much better. Again, not perfectly, but it has impacted my business positively and me personally positively. My pants fit better, for example. So thanks to you for helping me stay on track.
Perfect. So everyone, thank you very much for joining us today. I would love to see you tomorrow. We have a meeting at 1 p.m. with Adrian, myself, Kara, Irina. We're gonna be starting with success. So please don't miss out. If you want to have that success mindset, please join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. where we're gonna be having different points of view of success and how to achieve it. So thank you, everyone, and until next time.
See you there.
Bye.